Hey everyone, welcome to my latest Stories in a Song video here on YouTube. Well, here behind me, on the TV back there, you can see there is today's song playing by the group that originated the song way back in 1977. That's called Dust in the Wind by Kansas, written by Kerry Livgren. So this is my first Kansas song on my YouTube playlist, My Karaoke Songs, and my 313th video on there in total. This is a song that I first heard on the local AM radio station in Chatham, Ontario, where I lived until I was 16 years old. I'm going to dedicate this video to a young lady who I used to work with at the Superstore, Julie Nolan, who told me once that this was her favorite song. I have never sung this song anywhere until today, so I'm hoping for a little beginner's luck. Now here is some information about the story behind the song, the background, and the lyrical explanation of Dust in the Wind. The title of the song is a Bible reference, paraphrasing Ecclesiastes. I reflected on everything that is accomplished by man on earth, and I concluded, everything he has accomplished is futile, like chasing the wind. A meditation on mortality and the inevitability of death. The lyrical theme bears a striking resemblance to the biblical passages Genesis 3:19, quote, "For dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return," unquote, and Ecclesiastes 3:20, quote, "All go to one place, all are from the dust, and to dust all return," unquote. The phrase dust in the wind occurs in a book of Native American poetry, which includes the line, quote, "For all we are is dust in the wind," unquote. It is also similar to both Psalms 18:42, quote, "I ground my enemies like dust on the face of the wind," unquote, and the famous opening lines of the Japanese war epic, The Tale of the Heike, quote, "The mighty fall at last, and they are as dust before the wind," unquote. Kerry Livgren devised what would be the guitar line for Dust in the Wind as a finger exercise for learning finger picking. His wife, Vicky, heard what he was doing, remarked that the melody was nice, and encouraged him to write lyrics for it. Livgren was unsure whether his fellow band members would like it, since it was a departure from their signature style. Now here's some information about the writer of Dust in the Wind, Kerry Livgren. Livgren has written or co-written 11 songs that have been released by more than one artist, including Dust in the Wind, from Icarus Born on Wings of Steel, originally by Kansas in October 1975, to Play the Game Tonight, originally by Kansas in May 1982. All but one of the 11 songs were originally by Kansas. The other one was originally by Livgren himself. Dust in the Wind is Livgren's most covered song, having been covered by 141 different artists. I'll say more about the cover versions of Dust in the Wind later. Dust in the Wind is my first Livgren written song on YouTube. I'll say more about Livgren in the artist bio section later. Now here is some information about the original recording, personnel involved, and the release of Dust in the Wind. After Kansas had rehearsed all the songs intended for the band's recording sessions of June and July 1977, Livgren played Dust in the Wind for his bandmates, who after a moment's stunned silence asked, quote, "Kerry, where has this been?" Kansas guitarist Rich Williams would recall that Livgren played his bandmates, quote, "a real rough recording of him playing Dust in the Wind on an old reel-to-reel. He just kind of mumbled the lyrics, but even hearing it in that bare form, we said, that's our next single," unquote. Recorded at Woodland Sound Studios in Nashville and co-produced by Jeff Glixman and all the Kansas band members, Dust in the Wind featured Livgren playing a Martin D28 acoustic guitar borrowed from Williams, highlighted by the electric violin work of Robbie Steinhardt. The track featured Steve Walsh as lead vocalist, despite being recorded after Walsh had given his immediately effective resignation to his bandmates. Walsh's 1977 departure from Kansas would last a month. The recording also featured Williams on acoustic guitar, Steinhardt on viola and backing vocals, and Phil Ehart on hand drums. Dust in the Wind was initially released with the release of Kansas's 5th studio album, Point of No Return, with no spelled K-N-O-W, in October 1977, on the Kirshner, CBS, and Kirshner Epic labels, produced by Glixman. In fact, passed over as lead single choice in favor of its parent album's title cut, Dust in the Wind began receiving radio airplay as an album track, factoring into the underperformance of the Point of No Return single, which dropped out of the top 40 from its Billboard Hot 100 peak of number 28 the week the Rush-released single of Dust in the Wind debuted on the Hot 100. That single, on the Kirshner label, was released on January 17, 1978, with B-side Paradox, co-written by Livgren and Walsh. The Point of No Return album cover has a drawing, more specifically and correctly a painting by Peter Lloyd, which shows the Earth in the middle as a blue sphere with water and slight waves in the left half of the sphere, at the edge of which a sailing ship is on the precipice of going over a waterfall. There are small white clouds above the Earth, and half of a total lunar eclipse is shown at dead center. Beyond that, to the right, is a lighter blue sky which turns dark at the right edge. The large blue Earth is blocking the sun, of which only a bright rim and rays of sunlight are visible radiating out. Many white-edged clouds and several heads and tails of dragons surround the large Earth. The artist's name is at the top in stylized block letters, with red globes forming the base of each letter, and green chevron or vertical or diagonal lines forming the rest of each letter. At the bottom, the album title is in faint black cursive, underlined. All 10 tracks on the album are Kansas originals, with 4 of those never having been covered to date. Dust in the Wind is track 2 on side 2 of the album. Now here is some information about the chart performance of Dust in the Wind. On the weekly charts, Dust in the Wind reached number 1 on the Canadian RPM Adult Contemporary chart, number 3 on the Canadian RPM Top Singles and US Cashbox Top 100 charts, number 6 on the US Billboard Hot 100 and US Billboard Adult Contemporary charts, number 22 on the Netherlands Single Top 100 and French Singles SNEP charts, number 27 on Belgium's Ultratop 50 Flanders chart, number 36 on New Zealand's Recorded Music NZ chart, and number 52 on the Australian Singles Kent Music Report chart. On the year-end charts for 1978, the single ranked number 24 on RPM Canada Top Singles, number 37 on US Cashbox Top 100, and number 39 on US Billboard Hot 100. Digging a little deeper into the single's North American chart performance, Dust in the Wind entered the Canadian RPM Adult-Oriented Playlist chart on March 11, 1978 at number 48, when Short People by Randy Newman was number 1. It peaked at the number 1 position on May 27th, replacing Too Much, Too Little, Too Late by Johnny Mathis with Denise Williams in the top spot. It was replaced at number 1 a week later by The Last of the Romantics by Engelbert Humperdinck. Dust in the Wind stayed in the top 50 for 15 weeks. On the Canadian RPM 100 Top Singles chart, the single debuted at number 87 on February 18th, when Stayin' Alive by the Bee Gees was number 1. It peaked at number 3 on May 13th, kept out of the top spot by number 1, If I Can't Have You by Yvonne Elliman, and number 2, Night Fever by the Bee Gees. Dust in the Wind charted there for 17 weeks. On the US Cashbox Top 100 chart, the single debuted at number 75 on January 28th, when the aforementioned Short People by Randy Newman was number 1. It also peaked at number 3 here for 2 weeks on April 15th and 22nd, kept out of the top spot by the aforementioned Night Fever by the Bee Gees, which was number 1, and Can't Smile Without You by Barry Manilow, which was number 2. Both of those songs for both weeks. Dust in the Wind charted there for 20 weeks. On the US Billboard Hot 100 chart, the single debuted at number 81 on January 28th, when Baby Come Back by Player was number 1. It entered the top 40 on February 18th at number 38, when the aforementioned Stayin' Alive by the Bee Gees was number 1, giving Kansas their 3rd career US Top 40 pop hit out of 7 that they would ultimately achieve. It peaked at number 6 on April 15th, kept out of the top spot by number 1, the aforementioned Night Fever by the Bee Gees, number 2, the aforementioned Stayin' Alive by the Bee Gees, number 3, Lay Down Sally by Eric Clapton, number 4, the aforementioned Can't Smile Without You by Barry Manilow, and number 5, the aforementioned If I Can't Have You by Yvonne Elliman. Dust in the Wind charted there for 20 weeks, 7 of those in the top 10, and 15 in the top 40. It would remain the all-time highest charting single for Kansas. And on the US Billboard Top 50 Easy Listening chart, the single debuted at number 43 on February 4th, when Desiree by Neil Diamond was number 1. It also peaked at number 6 for 2 weeks on April 8th and 15th, kept out of the top spot by number 1, We'll Never Have to Say Goodbye Again by England Dan and John Ford Coley. Number 2, the aforementioned I Can't Smile Without You by Barry Manilow. Number 3, Before My Heart Finds Out by Gene Cotton. Number 4, The Circle is Small, written by Gordon Lightfoot and performed by Gordon Lightfoot, obviously. And number 5, Ready for the Times to Get Better by Crystal Gale on April 8th. And the same 5 songs again on April 15th, with the number 3 and 4 songs flipping spots. Dust in the Wind charted there for 17 weeks. I will be doing the Lightfoot and Gale songs on future videos. Now, here is some information about the criticism of Dust in the Wind. Billboard magazine, in their January 21st, 1978 issue on page 137, in naming it one of their top single picks, stated, quote, "Second single from this avant-garde rock group's Point of No Return LP is a poignant ballad that features evocative lyrics, a catchy melody, and a strong lead vocal. The band's use of strings sets a chilling mood and blends well with the flowing rhythms," unquote. Cashbox magazine, in their issue of the same date on page 20 in their singles reviews, stated that, quote, "The song has, quote, solid melody, excellent vocals and harmonies, and an impactful lyric," unquote. Record World magazine, in their issue of the same date on page 1, in naming it one of their hits of the week, stated, quote, "This ballad shows a new and pleasantly surprising side of the Midwestern art rock outfit. It's a subdued vocal duet accompanied only by acoustic guitars and an imaginative violin break. The 2-part vocal harmony works well," unquote. Ultimate classic rock critic Eduardo Rivadavia rated Dust in the Wind as Kansas's 3rd greatest song, calling it, quote, "a stark and gentle lament that bridges the group's transition from intimidating prog rockers to accessible hitmakers," unquote. Classic rock critic Dave Ling ranked it as Kansas's 2nd greatest song. An advertisement by Kirshner Records in Billboard magazine's April 8, 1978 issue on page 20 stated, quote, "The sun never sets on Kansas. America has long been Kansas territory. Their last album, Left Overture, is double platinum. Their current album, Point of No Return, is double platinum and still going strong, thanks to their top 10 single, Dust in the Wind. Their fall-winter tour covered 54 American cities and solidified their position as one of the foremost bands of our time. Recently, Kansas set sail to spread their music throughout Europe. Their month-long tour was SRO all the way, with all available tickets snapped up in a few hours. This is the ultimate tribute to their art, that it breaks down barriers of language and culture to bring people together all over the world," unquote. Now here is some information about the cover versions of Dust in the Wind. 161 cover versions of Dust in the Wind have been released to date, making it the 11th most covered work of all works released in 1977. Just the Way You Are, originally by Billy Joel, is number 1 on that list, with 414 cover versions and 12 adaptations. 11 adaptations of Dust in the Wind have been released so far. Of the 161 cover versions of Dust in the Wind, 96 of them are in English, 53 are instrumentals, 1 is in Czech, 1 is in Dutch, 1 is in English under the title A Whiff of Kansas, written by Tim Hawkins, 1 is in Finnish, 1 is in French, 1 is in German, 1 is in Modern Greek, 2 are in Portuguese, and 3 are in Spanish. Of the 96 English versions as written by Kerry Livgren, I am familiar with artists involved in only 8 of them. So I will talk about those first, and then the first 2 chronologically, which I am not familiar with. So in chronological order, the ones I am familiar with are, first, by UK soprano, songwriter, and actress Sarah Brightman in 1998 on her East-West album, Eden. The album cover shows Brightman resting against an armchair that is covered in red curtain cloth. The curtain cloth covers every surface within the photo. Brightman is wearing a red and blue short-sleeved top with a black skirt with a long train on it. The artist's name is in white block letters above her to the left. The album title is not on the cover. The album also includes her covers of Orchestre de Chambre Louis de Froment's original, Anytime, Anywhere, The Beloved's original, Deliver Me, Hoover Phonics' original, Eden, Celine Dion's original, Il Mio Cuore Va, the traditional song, In Paradisum, Isabella Girardo's original, Lascia Chio Pianga, Ennio Morricone's original, Nella Fantasia, Miguel Fleta's original, Nessun Dorma, Francis Lai's original, Sen d'Amour, and Sean O'Riada Leshan O C. Agus Seoltori Kualan's original So Many Things. I know I butchered that name, Gaelic. Second, by American musician Eric Benet on April 27, 1999, on his Warner Brothers Records album, A Day in the Life. The album cover has a grainy look to it and shows a black and white headshot of Benet with the artist name at the top in faint block letters. The album title is to the right below in gray block letters, and the artist name is again shown between the words day and in white block letters over the grainy background. It might be a photo of a city from the air with a few streetlights on at night. The album also includes Benet featuring Faith Evans' cover of Toto's original Georgie Porgy, Benet featuring Tamia's original Spend My Life With You, and Benet's original Why You Follow Me. Third, by German hard rock band from Hanover, Scorpions, on June 5, 2001, on their East-West album Acoustica. The album cover shows a man screaming with his head wrapped in a black electrical cord, with what looks like the base of a microphone at the end of it in midair. His head is poking up out of some hard red earth, with a cloudy, dusky sky above. The artist's name is at the top in stylized silver block letters, with the album title below to the right in yellow block letters. The album also includes Scorpions' covers of the Cars' original Drive and Queen's original Love of My Life. Fourth, by American pop singer and songwriter Melanie in 2002 on her Disky album, Moments from My Life. The album cover has a white background with a close-up photo of Melanie's right eye at the top left, with the artist name in pink beside it. The album title is below in black capital letters. At the bottom is a partial track list in purple. The album also includes Melanie's covers of Bill Withers' original Ain't No Sunshine, the Rolling Stones and Marianne Faithfull's original As Tears Go By, Mr. Mister's original Broken Wings, the Fleetwood's original Come Softly to Me, Culture Club's original Do You Really Want to Hurt Me, Delaney and Bonnie and Friends original Free the People, The Seekers original I'll Never Find Another You, Alexander Vertinsky and the Limelighters original Those Were the Days, the Bee Gees original To Love Somebody, Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band's original We've Got Tonight, Albert Hammond's original When I Need You, and the Supremes' original You Keep Me Hanging On. I'll be making videos of some of those songs in the future. And on her Disky single, with B-side For What It's Worth, originally by the Buffalo Springfield. I have a video of that song on my YouTube playlist at number 304. The single cover has a purple background, with a photo of Melanie as a blonde in a black top. There is a thin yellow rectangle at the top right corner with the artist's name below in white printing, behind which is her name again in pink cursive on an upward slant. The song titles are in white at the bottom with another thin yellow rectangle in the bottom right corner. Fifth, by a UK actor and singer Murray Head on December 4th, 2012, on his Culture Factory album My Back Pages. The album cover has a birch bark background with a collage of various photos of Head performing and posed alone and with others from throughout his career. The artist's name is in the top left corner in white capital letters separated by a white horizontal line. The album title is in the bottom left corner in the same color and style with the word Pages below the white line. The album also includes Head's covers of Roxy Music's original Avalon, Midnight Oil's original Beds Are Burning, Joe South's original Games People Play, the Spencer Davis Group's original Gimme Some Loving, Goldie Zelkowitz's original Going Back, James Brown's original How Do You Stop, Everything But the Girls' original Missing, Bob Dylan's original My Back Pages, which I have a video of on my YouTube playlist at number 263 in the style of the Byrds, the Supremes and Len Barry's original 123, the Who's original We Won't Get Fooled Again, Dido's original White Flag, and Des'ree's original You Gotta Be. Sixth, by UK artist and singer, best known for her work in musical theatre, Carrie Ellis, and UK guitarist, songwriter, and occasional singer for Queen, Brian May, on June 17, 2013, an acoustic live version on their Duck Productions self-released album, Acoustic by Candlelight. The album cover has a photo in black and white of Ellis and May on stage, under a spotlight, each sitting on a stool. Ellis is singing into a microphone while May is playing guitar, both dressed all in black. The artists' names are at the top on either side of the light fixtures in yellow capital letters, with the album title below in yellow cursive. At the bottom right corner it says, in the same color and font, quote, as seen on the Born Free tour, unquote. It was recorded in Corby, England. The album also includes Ellis and May's covers of Matt Monro, arranged and conducted by John Barry's original, Born Free. And from my mom, I actually have a old album of Matt Monro that is titled Matt Monro, Invitation to the Movies, Born Free. Look at that right there. It's probably from the late 60s. I didn't actually look it up to see what year this came out in, but it's on Capitol Records. It's got a lot of songs coming out of Academy Award nominated movies that were around at the time, such as Alfie, Georgie Girl, A Time for Love, plus a bunch of other ones, Strangers in the Night. So that sounds like about 1966, most of those movies. So there you have that. And we also have on that album, not that album I just showed you, but the Born Free Tour album. Queen's originals, Crazy Little Thing Called Love, Life is Real, Love of My Life, and No One But You, Only the Good Die Young. Queen and Paul Rodgers original, I Loved a Butterfly. Carrie Ellis's original, I Can't Be Your Friend. Idina Menzel's original, I'm Not That Girl. A Song of Unknown Origin, co-written by Christina Rossetti and Gustav Holst, In the Bleak Midwinter. Joe Sentieri and Benny King's original, I Who Have Nothing. The Beatles' original, Something, and Barbra Streisand's original, The Way We Were. Seventh by American singer Joanne Cash, with American Christian singer from Illinois, John Schlitt, in 2014 on Cash's Proverbial Excellence album, Breaking Down the Barriers. Cash is the sister of Johnny Cash. The album cover photo shows Cash dressed in a black sweater over a pink and white and black top that appears to show a depiction of Jesus on the cross, standing outside a wooden door to a white brick building with a cobblestone walkway that is overgrown with weeds. The album also includes Cash and various duet partners' covers of Julie Miller's original All My Tears with Dan Hazeltine, the Carter Family's original Anchored in Love with Roseanne Cash, daughter of Johnny Cash, Don Williams' original Fair Weather Friends with Razzie Bailey, the Golden Gate Quartet and the Jubilaires' original God's Gonna Cut You Down with T. Graham Brown, U2's original Love Rescue Me with Kevin Max, Mary Kay James' original My Ship Will Sail with the Fox Brothers, Norfolk Jubilee Quartet's original On the Rock Where Moses Stood with George Hamilton IV, Johnny Cash's original The Good Earth with Larry Gatlin, who wrote the song, Sons of the Pioneers' original The Touch of God's Hand with Ranger Doug of Riders in the Sky, and Green Day's original Time of Your Life with Rick Florian. And eighth by Scottish folk rock band Stealers Wheel in March 2016 on their K-Tel album Going Back. The album cover shows a black and white photo of the group members with their backs to the camera, standing in front of a gateway entrance to a subway. A clock above their heads appears to show the time of day as about 10 minutes to 2, but the numbers on the clock face go in the counterclockwise direction. The only numbers in the right places are 12 and 6. The artist name is in the middle in big white capital letters, with the album title at the bottom in smaller black capital letters. The band members are carrying their instruments, all dressed in black. The one second from left has a wide-brimmed hat on. The album also includes their covers of The Temptations' original Get Ready, Goldie Zelkowitz's original Going Back, there's that one again, Creedence Clearwater Revival's original Have You Ever Seen the Rain, Mumford & Sons' original I Will Wait, Jesus Jones' original Right Here, Right Now, and Smokey Robinson and the Miracles' original The Tracks of My Tears, which I have a video of on my YouTube playlist at number 126 in the style of Johnny Rivers. The first two cover versions of Dust in the Wind to be released, I have never heard of the artist in either of them. The first of those, and ninth I'll mention, is by Irish soprano and harpist from County Sligo, Mary O'Hara, in 1978 on her Chrysalis album, Music Speaks Louder Than Words. The album cover has a yellow border around a photo of O'Hara sitting in a field of small yellow flowers, maybe buttercups. She is wearing a black top over a red dress, both of which have a flowery pattern. She is touching her chin with the fingers of her left hand. In the background is a fence with another field beyond. The artist's name is in the top left corner in yellow, with a green-bodied harp between her two names. The album title is on two lines behind or below in white. The album also includes O'Hara's covers of John Denver's original Annie's Song, Debbie Reynolds' original Home in the Meadow, Jim Croce's original I'll Have to Say I Love You in a Song, Candy Staton's original Music Speaks Louder Than Words, The Association's original, Never My Love, which I have a video of on my YouTube playlist at number 121, Roger Daltrey's original, Oceans Away, and the Dubliners' original, Scorn Not His Simplicity. I have an album here from my mom of the Dubliners. It doesn't have that song on it, but it has a picture of the Dubliners on the front. Guess where? In a pub in Ireland somewhere, probably. It's called More of the Hard Stuff. This is an album that I listened to a few times back when I was a kid, teenager, and it's got some real hardcore Irish music on that one. Another album that was probably from the 60s or early 70s. Let's see now. Back to this again. So we had the Dubliners, Scorn Not His Simplicity. That was on that album that I mentioned by O'Hara. And I'll be making videos of a few of those songs off of the O'Hara album in the future as well. And last but not least, by Singaporean pop group Western Union Band in 1978 on their EMI album, We've Got Love. The album cover has a photo of the 5 band members dressed casually, one in a t-shirt with their band name on the front. 2 of them are leaning against a rock wall, standing, with the other 3 sitting in front of them in tall weeds. The photo has a red border with the record company logo in the top right corner. In the top left corner of the photo is the album title in red. The band's WUB logo is at the bottom edge of the photo in the middle, with the band name below in white capital letters. The album also includes the band's covers of Terry DeSerio's original, Ain't Nothing Gonna Keep Me From You, Robert Palmer's original, Every Kind of People, Uriah Heep's original, Free Me, Andrew Gold's original, How Can This Be Love, Carla Bonoff's original, I Can't Hold On, Bachman Turner Overdrive's original, Taking Care of Business, which I will make a video of in the future, and Jackie DeShannon's original, When You Walk in the Room. I wonder if that's the Pam Tillis song of later years. It might be. Kansas's original is rated the best version by secondhandsongs.com. There are 151 more cover versions of Dust in the Wind, but I won't mention any more today. Now here is some information about Kansas, the band, not the state. Kansas is an American rock band formed in Topeka, Kansas in 1973. Before that, though, they had their origin back in 1969 when Don Montree and Kerry Livgren, born Kerry Allen Livgren on September 18, 1949, so he is now 75, born in Topeka, Kansas, who played guitars, keyboards, and synthesizers in the band. They were performing in a band called The Reasons Why in their hometown of Topeka. After leaving to form the band Saratoga with Lynn Meredith and Dan Wright, they started playing Livgren's original material, with Scott Kessler playing bass and Zeke Lowe on drums. In 1970, they changed the band's name to Kansas and merged with members of rival Topeka progressive rock group White Clover. White Clover members Dave Hope on bass and Phil Ehart, born Philip W. Ehart on February 4th, 1951, age 74, in Coffeyville, Kansas, who was on drums and percussion, joined with Livgren, vocalists Meredith and Greg Allen, keyboardists Montree and Wright, and saxophonist Larry Baker. This early Kansas group, sometimes called Kansas One, lasted until early 1971, when Ehart, Hope, and some of the others left to reform White Clover. Ehart was replaced by Zeke Lowe and later Brad Schultz. Hope was replaced by Rod McKinsky, and Baker was replaced by John Bolton, not that John Bolton, the National Security Advisor of Donald Trump, not him. John Bolton on saxophone and flute. This lineup is sometimes referred to as Kansas 2. In 1972, after Ehart returned from England, where he had gone to look for other musicians, he and Hope once again reformed White Clover with Robbie Steinhardt, born Robert Eugene Steinhardt, on May 25, 1950 in Chicago, Illinois, and died on July 17, 2021, aged 71, in Tampa, Florida, from complications of acute pancreatitis, on vocals, violin, viola, and cello. Steve Walsh, born Stephen Walsh, on June 15, 1951, he is now 74, in St. Joseph, Missouri, on vocals, keyboards, synthesizers, and percussion, and Rich Williams, born Richard John Williams on February 1st, 1950, so he is now 75, in Topeka, Kansas, on guitars. In early 1973, they recruited Livgren from the second Kansas group, which then folded. Eventually, they received a recording contract with Don Kirshner's eponymous label after Kirshner's assistant, Wally Gold, heard one of their demo tapes and came out to check out the band at one of their local gigs in March 1973 in Ellenwood, Kansas. After signing with Kirshner, the group decided to return to using the name Kansas. They became popular during the 1970s, initially on album-oriented rock charts, and later with hit singles such as Carry On Wayward Son and Dust in the Wind. Kansas appeared on the US Billboard charts for over 200 weeks throughout the 1970s and 1980s, and played to sold-out arenas and stadiums throughout North America, Europe, and Japan. Carry On Wayward Son was the second most played track on US classic rock radio in 1995, and number one in 1997. Jason Ankeny of AllMusic referred to Kansas as staples of classic rock radio. Now here's some information about Kansas's discography and recording history. The discography of Kansas consists of 16 studio albums, 7 live albums, 9 compilation albums, and 29 singles. 140 records were released on Kansas between 1974 and 1993. 48 of those records were released in the US, where their recordings appeared on the Kirshner Golden Oldies, CBS Associated, MCA, Collectibles, and Epic Golden Oldies labels, and 20 of those records were released in Canada, where their recordings appeared on the Columbia, Epic, Kirshner, MCA, Epic Hall of Fame, and Underground labels. Their recordings have also appeared on the Magna Carta, Inside Out, Intersound, King Biscuit Flour, Disky Communications Europe, JVC Victor, Sony BMG, Compendia Records, Sony Legacy, and Legacy Recordings labels. The band has produced 9 gold albums, 3 multi-platinum albums, including Point of No Return, 4 times platinum, 1 other platinum studio album, 1 platinum live double album, and a million-selling single, Dust in the Wind. Point of No Return also achieved platinum status in Canada. Dust in the Wind has been certified gold in Canada for 75,000 sales, silver in the UK for 200,000, and 3 times platinum in the US for 3 million. And now, after all that, I'm going to sing Dust in the Wind. All right then, let's do this. I have a little drink first. Because Lord knows I'm going to need it to get through this song here. All right, let's do it. Hoo-ha. Let's go now. Dust in the Wind, as made famous by Kansas, written by Kerry Livgren. I close my eyes only for a moment, and the moment's gone. All my dreams pass before my eyes with curiosity. Dust in the wind. All we are is dust in the wind. Same old song, just a drop of water in an endless sea. All we do crumbles to the ground, though we refuse to see. Dust in the wind. All we are is dust in the wind. I had that hesitation when I practiced it too. Now don't hang on, nothing lasts forever but the earth and sky. It slips away and all your money won't another moment buy. Dust in the wind, all we are is dust in the wind. Dust in the wind, everything is dust in the wind. The wind. Dust. The song has kind of a long ending to it. Let it play out here. Yeah, Dust in the Wind, Kansas, 1978. Woo boy. Like a lot of songs I've done. I got off to a bit of a rough start, but maybe I came around there in the end. I don't know. We'll see how it comes out in the old playback, but hope y'all enjoyed that song. Hope, Julie, you enjoyed that song a lot. So I know that's one of your favorite songs ever, so there you go. And so that is it for another video. All right, but I am going to have another Kansas song, which happens to be my favorite Kansas song of all of their songs, for my next Stories in a Song video. That is called Carry On Wayward Son. But before I do that, we'll be doing another Tiger of the Day video coming up next on Labor Day, because I have to work every other day until then, so I have to take a little break from these videos now. But on Labor Day, September the 1st, I will be back with a Tiger of the Day video. And then later that week, of course, is the beginning of football season. So before too long, I will have a Lion of the Day video on for you guys to see. First one of those I will have done. And then eventually I'll get back to doing another classic TV and movies video and more singing videos as well. So that's it for today. Hope you all enjoyed the song and the stories, and be here next time because I ain't even started yet. Have a good day now. Bye.